Call the Village of Johnsburg, September 18th, 2018, regular meeting for the President Board of Trustees to order at 7:04. On the roll, Trustee McAvoy.
Present.
Trustee Curry.
Here.
Trustee Hagan.
Here.
Trustee Frost.
Here.
Trustee Clemson.
Here.
Stand for the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
From the floor, public comment? You're on the
Yeah,
agenda?
you're on the agenda.
Okay. Move to approve the omnibus agenda.
So moved.
So moved by Trustee McAvoy, seconded by Trustee Curry. Discussion on the motion.
Park looks nice. That's what,
Does it?
yes. That was all.
Discussion what?
The park looks very nice.
Okay.
Leadville looks gorgeous, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, it
Well, I was talking about the running room.
Yeah, right.
But yeah,
The
That
pay
looks nice,
request?
too.
yeah,
You want to pull it?
no.
Okay. Any other discussion? With there being none, Trustee Clemson.
Aye.
Trustee Frost.
Aye.
Trustee Hagan.
Aye.
Trustee Curry.
Aye.
Trustee McAvoy. Motion carried. President's report, I would like to consent and approval for Adam Lieber to be appointed to the ordinance committee. Any objections to that? He used to be on planning and zoning. All in favor?
Yes.
Aye. Okay, thank you. And has everybody been able to drive by the obnoxious signs that Tom approved for the Pines Club?
Davey and I spent a lot of time down there, and matter of fact, the gentleman who was here, we replaced his culvert that he was complaining about, and it was deteriorated, and it's done.
Yeah, Mr. Bottomley.
And I didn't feel that those signs were very obnoxious at all, but I was kind of throwing in your culvert, you know, if you want to do something with it. I don't know, I mean, they're not that big. I mean, you're this big, you know, so.
I think they look nice. I don't think they're obnoxious.
You don't think they're
No,
obnoxious?
it took at least 2 weeks before I realized there was 2 signs there.
And
They're kind of
you
coming
drive by
back. I'm trying to read that
it.
on. Okay, see, there's 3. So we're good. I like it.
Yeah, I didn't think they were obnoxious in any way, really.
Well, we're definitely going to reply to people that, you know, we've decided that they don't look that terrible, but, Tom, I mean, you know, you're going to get the headwinds from this because you like those signs, I know.
Well, you know what, when I first saw the signs, I didn't like them. They just, I mean, they serve their purpose, but, I mean, it's a scenic little piece of property, and I honestly think that, you know, they just stand out too much. And honestly, I don't know that we need 3 of them. I mean, that was a kind of a committee thing, you know, it was a committee thing, and I thought, okay, you know, committee wants to do that, but, you know, if unless there's some legal reason why we can't have one at the corner or something like that, I think one would serve a purpose.
Do we put them on any other ponds?
That's the only pond that I'm aware of that we completely surround. So, as you head east from there, those ponds are, you know, the Walgreens pond is private, the next pond is each homeowner, the property lines go into it, the pond after that belongs to the association that doesn't exist.
We were requested by the homeowners to put up the signs because of, not that I think anybody was upset about fish in the ponds. I mean, if they're there, they weren't upset that it was the usage of taking the fish and throwing them out and not putting them back.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You know, and then people that were overfishing them and not returning them. And they weren't from anywhere around here, and just, they were afraid that they'd fish it out.
Okay.
So, I mean, do we wait a while and see what it is? I mean, we gotta get back to the people. Kevin doesn't think they're obnoxious, Kyle doesn't think they're that obnoxious. Did you drive by, Greg?
I did. I agree kind of with Tom. Maybe if you get one sign in there, do we need to have three? But I think you need to notate it. So, I didn't really look obnoxious from this.
Strictly from a realtor's perspective, I know. Josh?
Yeah, I agree with Tom too. I mean, I could see that from their house, it would certainly detract from their view.
Well, I know, never mind.
Go ahead.
It says Village of Johnsburg on there, doesn't it?
What's that?
The sign says Village of Johnsburg somewhere on there, doesn't it?
Yeah, so.
I believe so. Well, I mean, I would consider, you know, waiting it out, and, you know, if they continue to have their issues, and you think that is distraction, then maybe we pull one back and we put it in the main into the park area, and leave it at that.
See, anybody that fishes there pulls into the cul-de-sac, so, you know, one or two, one at the corner, certainly, they're passing it, so if somebody's there and they shouldn't be, we can always point to the sign.
I mean, is there one where you pull in and maybe one on the far end that wouldn't be obnoxious to any of the people? You
These
know, so
signs
when
are
they
not
look out
that-
their window, they're not looking
Yeah,
at the
these
sign.
signs are not that big, they're like this big, and
Yeah,
I
not
don't
that
know
big.
how they can see that, you know, that they're obnoxious. I mean, it's
The
not
sign
blocking my
actually,
view. You could have that right in front of my house on the river, I wouldn't consider it being that obnoxious.
you know, the sign says fishing permitted for village residents only, violators subject to a $200 fine, ordinance number 17-18-37.
Well, why don't we take a look at it, since we're split, or almost split on what should be.
I think we should just give it time. From my
See-
perspective.
Give it another month, we can always talk about it.
You know, if they want to complain more about it, then.
See if anybody else
Right.
raises a little issue. Okay. All right. Okay. Consider exception to chapter 2419, garages of the Johnsburg Municipal Code for the property at 1401 River Terrace Drive.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate your time tonight. I'm Harry Giovanni. I live at 1401 River Terrace Drive. I think we purchased that house in 1996. Over the course of 22 years, we've flooded 7 times. It's a raised ranch with a driveway that goes down.
I know it well.
Kevin knows it well. This summer we applied for a permit, and it was denied, and one of the requirements was that I need to obtain a variance from the village because I'm eliminating my garage. Okay. I don't really have space on the property to build another garage. And I've taken measures over the course of the past 22 years to try and prevent the problem from happening, and nothing's not successful. What happens is there's an empty lot next to me, and River Terrace comes from Weingart. It all flows downhill, and once that empty lot fills up, it becomes a pond. It all floods into my driveway.
Francis, up above you.
Right, absolutely. So our plan is to concrete to the existing height of the concrete, then frame in the rest of the garage door, build have another concrete wall built for the man door, and then a stairwell to come out and fill the driveway in and flow that away from the house. Correct.
Water from the road ain't running in.
Correct. Correct. We have absolutely no plans to turn that garage into living space. It's going to remain storage as it is now. It's really not big enough to park a car in the garage anyway. So So I'm here seeking that variance.
And you were denied?
I was, I do need to do multiple things. There's some other additional things that I need to put onto to the plans. However, I wasn't gonna go any further and spend any more money, until I know that I'm able to do it from a village perspective.
Harry's almost right across the way from me, and I understand, ever since that house was built, it's always been an issue.
I actually have a picture from before I purchased the house. This was the spring before I purchased the house. I was not made aware of it. It wasn't in the agreements, and so...
Real estate?
No.
Make it later.
I know that there were some changes made, the culvert was put in, or the storm drain was put in and went across the road, and they put a hump at the end of or the top of the driveway.
Right.
It doesn't solve the problem. I then basically cut a channel in my garage and put another sump pit in, so I have 2 sump pits down there.
So this was prior to you buying it?
That was prior to me buying the house. And then I've got multiple pictures of this past
And I have my license with it.
so.
The same issue we have with this, gal that lives up on Francis, you know.
I just want to solve the problem one way or another. You know, I couldn't sell the house now if I wanted to. Nobody would purchase it in that condition. And nothing that I've tried has worked.
So we asked Mr. Giovanni to come here tonight because the municipal code requires every home to have a garage. So that's why he's here to ask for a variance from this group. It's more of a, just a procedural thing that he's coming here before you to discuss his hardship. This does not need to go to zoning because it's a variance from the municipal code, so the board can make that decision.
I think it only makes sense for all of us to let you go ahead and fix the problem. Eliminate it for yourself, but it's eliminating it for everybody. I mean, whether you have a garage or not.
Yeah, I mean, he's right around the corner from me. I understand this issue well.
She's seen me out there waist deep in water several times.
Me and my dog, we're out there walking.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you would have had
They
seen that picture before you bought it, you wouldn't have bought it.
Absolutely not.
Is there anything else right around your house that floods besides your whole driveway?
Well, my whole basement floods when
Right,
this happens, right? But is there,
property-wise, just looking.
the empty lot,
It's kind of open area.
yeah, yeah.
Everything is slope,
Will run towards the river.
Everything runs up Francis and comes down and obviously heads
That's what I'm
towards the
saying,
river.
if you're getting rid of that, I can
Where's
see,
it gonna go?
where's it
Where's
gonna
it
go?
gonna go?
Well, if it goes to the neighbor's yard.
At the end of my driveway is a storm drain.
Okay, so it goes right in there.
I don't know that storm drain is going to handle it, but once it gets up high enough at times, it will run directly parallel with that, towards the river.
Okay.
So,
What he's gonna do is not gonna hurt the neighbor.
it's a short driveway, I'm not displacing very much water.
You've got considerable acreage alongside of his house, and, that might be swampy and swamp up, but,
It's an empty lot with,
you're all the way to John Todd.
correct,
Yeah.
correct.
Okay.
So we will put together an ordinance that'll be on the omnibus agenda for the next meeting that'll follow. Okay?
And I don't think there's anybody that would object to what you're doing.
Okay,
No, okay.
I thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Come in.
Take care.
Sorry for the inconvenience.
Okay.
Okay. Discuss general obligation waterworks and sewage refunding bonds for Nardi Securities. Mr. Vale sent somebody.
Yeah, Mr. Avero couldn't make it, so he sent me.
Wow.
My name is Elena Botiva with Bernardi Securities, and I'm here to go over your financing, and I was told to keep it short and sweet because you guys did this 2 times over the last 2 years, so you're pros. Just to go over where current market rates are on page 1. You can see in 18 rates have kind of gone up, and they've been trending up, and we kind of expect that trend to continue. And then you can see in the beginning of the chart, in 09 rates were significantly higher, hence we can refinance your series of 09 bonds. So next page is a shorter, a longer picture of the same chart. So page 3 is all of your outstanding debt. You can see the Series 17 and 18, which you recently done, and then Series of 09, which we're considering refinancing. They become callable on February 1st, 2019, and a current call is considered 90 days prior to that. So you could refinance them anytime starting November 1st, being settlement when you get the money after November 1st. To the side, you can see the sum of your debt and the repayment over the next 20 years. Page 4 is how much you can borrow. Pretty much all of your capacity is out there. Page 5 is current interest rates. For the record, in case someone doesn't know, you're at AA, so on this chart, those are the best rates possible. And we come to the page that you should really care about, page 6. So based on current market conditions, you have estimated savings about $50,000 over the next 9 years, about $6 to $9 grand a year annual debt service savings. This is net of any cost of issuance, about 3% of the overall debt service. The interest rate on the currently outstanding 09 bonds is 404. The new interest rate would be 289. And that's pretty much about it. I have a timeline of how this financing would go. Mr. Avail would be here on October 2nd to answer any additional questions that you might have before we go ahead and actually lock in any interest rates. Those savings are based on market conditions as we see them, based on leads from our trading desk today. Obviously, they change on a daily basis depending on daily supply and demand and what else happens in the market. We would target pricing the bonds the week of October 23rd, whether it's Tuesday or Wednesday, and then settle on November 6th, as I said, past November 1st. And there are a few steps that need to get done in between, but we'll make sure that happens.
Any questions for Elena? Concerns? I mean,
Yeah.
trying to save money, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So Elena, thank you for presenting this. We looked at that from the finance committee too. One of the questions we had from our committee is, where is there a break-even point? Do you know what interest rate that would be at? You know, obviously rates are rising in this market. I don't think it's going to go to 4.04 anytime soon, but you know, we see things coming up fast, like a 30 or 10-year note.
I can run that analysis tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Normally, people, if you have 2.5 to 3% savings,
Sure.
you should take it.
Absolutely.
Below that, then it becomes a judgment point.
Okay.
You decide whether you want to take it or not.
Gotcha.
But
So cost of issuance versus the return.
well, yeah, this is net of all cost of issuance, so this is,
Okay. Yeah, right now we're at 3.12%, so that's a good savings we probably should strike. But she's right, if you go below 2.5, you have to start looking at the opportunity cost versus calling it another cost back there in there too.
some people just think if you project the interest rate going up, and right now the consensus is they'll continue going up, then you, no matter what the number is, you're leaving money on the table.
That's
if you
true.
don't think it's going down, but then it's not my call.
Right, sure,
Yeah.
sure. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. I think everybody's into saving money, so we're all good on this.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming out.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for having us.
Yeah.
I was hoping to see Kim here as well.
Yeah.
But I, you know, for a while.
Well, you can come out with Bob next time and we'll work in here.
I just came back from vacation, so I just said, punishing you, you're going.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Don't drive through McHenry right now.
Don't go through again.
Yeah, don't go through McHenry, go south.
Okay. Move to accept authorization of engagement letters from Bernardi Securities and Ice Miller LLP for bond underwriter and bond disclosure counsel services related to general obligation, waterworks, and sewage refunding bonds.
Motion.
Motion trustee Curry,
Yes.
trustee McAvoy.
Second?
On the roll. Trustee Clemsai?
Aye.
Trustee Frost?
Aye.
Trustee Hagan?
Aye.
Trustee Curry?
Aye.
Trustee McAvoy?
Aye.
Motion carried. Committee reports. Kevin, you have anything?
Well, you guys know what we're doing. I mean, we got your subdivision all torn up right now.
Very important project.
Yes. And they're doing, just, trash, limb pickups and that sort of thing, and that's about it.
Okay. Trustee Curry, don't talk all night now.
Well, anybody else? I mean,
Well, we're going down the line.
5 minutes.
We're going down the line.
All right, well, the third big Q is this Saturday.
How many entries?
Not enough, not
Oh, no.
even close to enough. We had 4, and then Bill gave us backed out.
What?
So we're down, I know, right? So, that puts us back at 3, which is a little surprising because everybody you talk to loves the idea and wanted to do it. And so, I don't know, but, it's, basically it's free to the village and the grand prize is donated and all that, so we'll go out there and have some fun.
Hey, have some fun.
Yeah, and maybe it'll
Do you have
grow.
judges?
I believe we do.
Okay.
As far as I know, one gentleman is called here to sign up to judge, so, if we get some others, that'd be great.
Well, we'd like to eat.
No.
Right.
There's your second judge.
Absolutely. Well, just call here and register with Tim.
Okay.
We'll get you in there.
Sounds good.
What else? Celebration in the park. So that's next, so barbecue this Saturday, celebration in the park next Saturday, the 29th. That's all coming together, donations donors have been generous. So, I think we're in good shape, there, gonna finalize some things with the band. But, other than that, everything's come together. The junior Skyhawk cheerleaders, I think everybody should have gotten an email there that Claudette forwarded for us. The junior Skyhawk cheerleaders are a completely separate organization from junior Skyhawk football. So I've got nothing to do with it, but, they're asking if they can do what they're calling a mini Queen of Hearts raffle, in celebration of the park. And we now have another, person from, I believe from the CARES program at the high school. No, I'm sorry, it wasn't CARES, I'd have to look. There's a high school program that wants to, sell T-shirts and things. Frankly, it concerns me, so I wanted to get everybody else's opinion, because I just feel like we start letting people do raffles and drawings and sell their T-shirts, and where does that go? It's not really, I think, what we're all about for that night, so, I'm happy to support the programs, but I just don't know if that's the right night to be doing those things, and want to see what other people thought.
Well, I think we want to see what's on the T-shirts for sure, or know what's on the T-shirts if we're going to consider it.
I believe the T-shirts, they're actually kind of neat. It's the outline of the state. It's got a little star where Johnsburg's at. It says
Yeah, like mine.
Johnsburg.
I did those originally.
Yeah, it says
Yeah.
Johnsburg, the place to be.
I love Johnsburg.
Yeah, they say Johnsburg, the place to be. Not as cool as Scott Diedrich's Johnsburg, no place for wimps T-shirt, but he bought that at Walgreens in Spring Grove, I don't know. But I believe that is the T-shirt. But anyway, go ahead, sorry.
No, that's wonderful. I like that t-shirt.
Right?
So what is, discussion, we wanna have discussion on this?
Is it appropriate or not? You know, and I'm just pulling up the...
I mean, I guess, the junior Skyhawks are selling burgers and stuff?
Yeah, Sunnyside Tavern, as they have for so many years now, is donating hot dogs and brats. Junior Skyhawks will add to that a little bit, but Junior Skyhawks football will be providing all the labor to cook food. And obviously they'll profit from that. Boy Scouts will be making their desserts rather than having an outside company come in. The Boy Scouts will be doing deep fried Oreos and elephant ears or funnel cakes. The CARES program, I've been invited to come sell the pop and water and coffee, hot chocolate, that kind of thing. So, you know, we ask different ones if they're interested in that, you know, these not-for-profit groups and all.
How's the community, Parks, trying to do a raffle?
Yeah, she's got a whole spreadsheet that was forwarded to everybody. It's Christine Giovango put it together. She's very organized, does a good job putting everything together. But everybody should have that. It's you know, basically they want to sell tickets for a couple of hours, and then before fireworks, they'll draw a winner.
That's what the letter said.
And then they'll contact...
Do a drawdown.
Yeah, and then they'll contact the winner. So it's not going to take anything away, you know, from what we're doing, I don't think. You know, if they do that, if we allow it's the PTO, by the way, if the PTO, we let the PTO set up, you know, a tent and sell their stuff out of there. You know, I'm not sure if I'm okay with it or not, honestly, so I wonder what everybody else does.
Did you have minutes?
I read the email, and Chapter 7 in the ordinance has, you know, it governs raffles, right? Licenses for raffles. So I think that their organization would qualify, right, to have a raffle in
It's
Johnsburg.
5013C, isn't it? Did I read that?
But our ordinance does not provide for like, you know, tear tickets, right? Keep this one, drop this one. So I think, so that, I guess they would need to make application, and then there would need to be a variance from the ordinance, because like the Queen of Hearts in McHenry, our ordinance doesn't allow for that. Ours says you have to have a ticket number, has to have when the drawing is going to be, when is the, what's the, you know, what is the possibility for a total pot, you know, total kettle, pot, whatever, a month, whatever it is. So, so again, they would need a variance, but I don't think there's enough time to make permit and then have a variance so that they could do it. So it would be the right way. You know, I do think that it's something that the village should look at, because I'm sure this is not the first that will be presented with this issue. But it's pretty, I mean, the ordinance is pretty lengthy as far as, these are the things that you need to do to you know, and it's all common sense. It's just making sure that it's fair and, you know, it's not,
Great.
yeah.
That'd be my question too, is any more liability, because it will be on our property too, it won't be like a private where the ordinance would take place, but it's gonna happen here on Sunnyside Park, you know, are we gonna have any liability if somebody doesn't run it correctly or something? That'd be a question for Michaels, who should be worried about that, you know what I mean, because it'll be on our property and they're gonna be sold, would be my question too, beyond the ordinance that he's bringing up.
No, not that I think that we face liability, the political repercussions. Seeing this in the paper, not with respect to the cheerleaders, but future organizations.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Well, I think the answer to that right now is pretty clear. If the ordinance doesn't allow it, we'll consider it. We have to consider it, and we don't have time to get it done. Not that, you know, in a way that we're not totally against it.
Right.
We just have to have the ordinance redone, and we don't have time to redo it.
Okay. Yeah, it's not something I'm really opposed to. It's just what happens next year when, you know, this program or that group, then they want to do it, and another group, and we're, you know.
Well, I think we would have to consider that,
I think-
to limit the number of raffles, but
I think this
I don't
whole,
want to single out the cheerleaders from not having a fundraiser when we're letting the Boy Scouts do it and letting juniors, you know, Skyhawks do it and everything else.
Well,
I think we ought to let them, I mean, I think how you have to limit that is there's just one group that can do that type of event.
Well, they are selling, they're selling glow sticks and, you know, some things like that at Celebration of the Park. They did last year as well, so they're being
they're
included.
making money.
Yeah, not a lot, but yeah, but they're being included, you know, it's not like they want to be involved and they're, you know, being excluded from it. This is just something they wanted to do in addition to it, but like I said, there's not time for it. Maybe next year they try earlier and we'll figure it out.
And I think this whole Queen of Hearts thing that we're going through right now, you know, we're gonna live through this for quite some time. And I think a lot of people are gonna try and tag on and jump onto that idea. And I think we need to reconsider all of that, you know, or consider all of it.
Well, I think we don't consider it this year.
No.
And tell them no, because we're not set up to do it. And have the ordinance committee look into it.
They're actually reviewing that chapter right now.
Are they? So they could look into it tomorrow, or whatever their meeting. And, don't they meet tomorrow? No. Thursday, I'm sorry. So the ordinance committee can look into it, and I think what we do is, you can relate to your group that, you know, they'll be the first ones in line if we get it approved for next year.
Sounds good.
I think that's only fair, because they came up with that idea.
Yeah.
Good call. So,
I agree.
Special.
And then the last thing here for me is Holiday Magic and the parade. Holiday Magic this year is going to be on Saturday, December 1st. Normally it's been on a Friday night, but we're going to move it to the 1st. We're working on organizing the parade. I stopped in First Midwest and talked to the branch manager there. They're going to allow us to set up in their parking lot, so we can just keep this to Church Street and not cross over or use any of Johnsburg Road. But about 3:30 in the afternoon, we'll set up, and then just head down Church Street to the community club. And we're still working out the details, but rather than having everybody come into the building and kind of mingle and cross paths repeatedly, we're going to create a nice flow in to see Santa, do your crafts.
Tree lighting first, like you're talking about,
Exactly.
and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, and come in the door.
Mhm.
Come down around the bend.
Yeah.
And there is a tree there.
Yeah, there's a lot of concern about that. And then, and with the parade, you know, I'm gonna invite local businesses. The committee also thought it'd be a lot of fun to have people decorate their golf carts and do a golf cart parade. I think Lion is first in line.
Do we
First lady.
open that up to any licensed vehicle in the, any licensed recreational vehicle in the village?
I believe that was what was said. Yeah, I can't remember the term that was used. Not ATV, but there's some other.
Non-highway vehicle.
Yeah.
Any non-highway vehicle registered.
Right,
Yeah.
has to be registered.
So I can't take my Corvette there. I don't have-
Sorry.
I don't have one.
Right.
Okay.
I got a question going off this Church Street. Correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't the new light poles, don't they have cables ran in there already for future speakers getting put on there? I forgot.
Do they, Tim, I know they do on the roundabout, but do they?
Is that the discussion?
They're in there.
Yeah.
in the wiring.
Okay, so it'd just be pretty much us getting speakers and,
It's not that simple.
not that simple, that's what I was asking.
And the headlights?
Yeah,
We have budgetary numbers for that.
Okay.
For the sound system, fitting it in the cabinet, power to the
Right.
cabinet, wiring it up, the
Yep.
boosters,
Yep.
the speakers, all that
And
stuff.
that's gotta be powered, it can't be powered all the way from
right.
West
Broken in that we were asked when John Heeman was here for that information for budgetary purposes. If I remember right, it's $40,000 to $40,000. We looked at Johnsburg Road
Mhm.
only and then by Rescue Squad Park. And then we had it for so many feet to, if you wanted to do it in chunks.
Okay.
Like St. John's or near the community club or
Right.
the school or something.
That's gonna be another story about synchronizing those.
Who gets to touch the buttons?
Well, how are you synchronizing it? So,
Well, I think that we have that possibility, Kyle.
Yeah, that's good.
So
That's
it's stuff that we can work on and figure out how to.
Right.
The underground is in.
I mean, how cool would that be for that parade to go on with Christmas music playing all the way down Church Street?
We gotta get a truck.
it's gotta get placed by December, by December. And that's all.
I think we just get the Bluesmobile with a big speaker. We just play that.
We don't have our golf carts gonna be
With
blaring.
Santa on top of
Speakers
it.
everywhere.
Yeah.
On top.
Run them up,
Stand
tap
up to
them
that
up,
parade.
everybody hit play.
No.
All right, that's all I have.
You sure?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, fair.
Oh, but wait.
Skyhawks are 3-1, we go to Woodstock Friday.
There you go.
There you go.
So if you're bored, wanna go to Woodstock.
Okay, so does anybody have any objection to any of those things that are happening? Might be hard to cancel barbecue, but the Holly Magic, or concerns about the holiday magic
What day
parade?
is that? Is it
Which one?
Friday or Saturday, December 1st?
Saturday.
And it starts in the morning?
No, we'll line up about 3:30 in the afternoon.
Or,
And,
right,
for the parade.
what about the barbecue this weekend? I thought that's what Josh asked about.
No, he was asking about Holly Magic. Yeah, barbecue, I think we have a captain's meeting at 8 a.m. Saturday to cover the rules and make sure everybody's set up properly, and I think judging, you know, we'll be cooking for like 6 hours or something, and,
Holy cow.
yeah, so, it's barbecue. Low and slow.
Takes time.
Yeah, so there's no,
So there's still room for entries, huh?
Absolutely.
Are you entered, or?
I am not entered. I have high school football practice from 8 till noon between practice and
You
prepping
can
for the
flip
following
ribs, you
week.
can flip ribs.
Yeah. Plus, it, you know, it just seemed like, you know, if I win, that'd be, and I would.
And I would.
All depends who's the judges are. Okay. Josh?
Mine's not nearly that long. No, we're just continuing our work in the marketing materials, and we're gonna change our focus to, back to the website one here. Trying to round that out and get that, get some more information up there. Useful stuff.
Thanks for keeping it short, Kyle.
I have nothing at this time, sir.
What?
Really?
Are you pregnant?
Okay. For finance, we had a chance to meet this month, so, real quick, we went through the building permit fees, again, we looked at it, Kim presented that to us, we got more opinions on that, so when it comes back up, we'll share that back and stuff like that as well. Also, I don't know, Josh, have you seen this yet, but Kim kind of got for the e-commerce sales tax revenue and stuff too, so we are gonna be getting, there was a, decision against, was it South Dakota versus? Wayfair. So we are gonna be getting some of the e-commerce money, so,
It's not gonna be much.
yeah, like $8,000, so Tom, don't spend it all in one place, so.
That's already gone.
Oh, jeez. So we are anticipating we're gonna get some more money coming in.
4 speakers.
So we are anticipating, I just want to bring that forward, so a lot of people might ask for something like that too, because they're gonna hear that we're hitting to get some of that money. So, but I think it's like $8,000 or $9,000, right, Josh? It's gonna be
Yeah, and in
pretty
fact, I heard today that Congress is actually working on a bill to limit the new law to businesses that do, I think it was $20 million or more.
Yeah.
So it may even, I mean, not like
Sure.
you'd be getting a lot of money from those small companies anyways, but it may even reduce it a little further. So it's not going to be a huge.
But we'll have it.
Not as it's written
Yeah.
like this.
Right.
It could potentially down the road, I think.
And Illinois is gonna take a good chunk, Chicago is too, and this stuff too, so, you know, a couple of the people my group brought up, maybe talk to CMAP or talk to McCog, is there any way that we can collect this a little differently so we can get our hooks on it first before the Illinois gets in and gives it back to us? So that was one of the comments, I don't know if that's even,
Yeah,
they're working on
as I
that.
understand it, we just get a very small percentage.
It's by population.
Yes.
So they won't know how much if you bought X from Walmart or Amazon, they won't know, they just do how many people, so it's a population-driven equation.
The state collects it all and then distributes.
It's gonna be like,
Based on.
That's why if we could
State income tax.
pull it by zip code or something would be easier to figure out, because I'm sure we have more people spending per populace than other areas, but that's the way it's gonna be right now today. We did talk about the bond refinancing, that's a question I asked about the break-even question, that came up too, so we just wanted to know where we'd break even on that. And the last thing is kind of with Kyle's group, is we are looking at the water sewer rate analysis, so we're starting to look at that again, the break-even cost. Obviously, what's happening today with Utilities Inc., that's now brought in concern. I don't think we've raised rates since 12 or 13. So we're looking at, do we need to do some increases to cover that?
I don't think you wanna use Utilities Inc. as a...
Well, we just don't want to be doing a 100% increase. Should we be doing a periodically yearly increase? You know, we're looking at other villages.
You're looking at the whole scenario.
The whole scenario, yeah.
Other villages, everything.
Obviously, if we get more users on all the systems, that will obviously help, obviously with sewer in itself too, but as we add more users onto the systems, that'll help as well too. But we're looking at, are we in line with our pricing, are we off compared to other villages? So that's what we look at.
Chief,
Yes, sir.
do you have anything?
No, I used all my words tonight, thank you.
Mr. Arctic?
No report, sir. Kevin took all my words.
Kevin took all your words. Rick?
All right. You've been at every meeting I've been at.
Counselor?
None.
Go Bears.
Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved.
Motion by trustee McAvoy, second by trustee Hagan. On the roll, trustee Clemstein,
Aye.
trustee Frost, trustee Hagan, trustee Curry, and trustee McAvoy. Motion carried.
There you go.